Hello, microphone check. 1 2 1 2. Hi everyone. Hope you guys had a good lunch. I can see the not food coma happening. I'm happy you guys are here. You could be at many places. There's like 5 different things happening. Even when I'm here, I don't know what to choose, man. It's like so many things. So thanks for being here. To start off, this is how you can stalk me online. This is where I live. Sometimes I'm in the physical world where I actually meet people at the mama. Yeah, take photo, take photo. So if you guys are taking any photos or like, I'm not on Snapchat, but if you're taking Instagram stories and stuff, please tag me so that I can show my mom that I did something that people tag me. Because we all Asian, we all want to make our parents proud. So what better way than to be tagged on Instagram? So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be here all night. So that's me. Those are the things I do. I had a wonderful introduction just now. This is the title. I can stand here. I like doing that because I did it on my computer at home. I blocked the entire screen. This one's way bigger. So okay, this is a great question. How many of you here would like to understand more about music for games? Show of hands. Of course, I'm going to look out for the ones that didn't put their hands up, right? Like, oh, okay. Pressure, society. Okay, how many of you would like to have better music for your games? Doesn't matter whether you're a game developer. Okay, good. Everyone wants better music. Okay. So good. So these are, if you answered yes to those 2 questions, you're at the right place. If you answered no, then I'd be like, stay here anyway. It's going to be fun. You're going to hear a lot of music. So this is the big philosophical question. Who am I? You can ask yourself this every day. Probably play a narrative game and still have it not answered. Then that's why we have all these games on Steam, right, that we never complete, right? We're like, who am I? If I bought all these things on special and I still haven't finished them all. This is me. This is what happens when you have a GoPro trying to take a photo at night of an old photo and then it's like this lah, not so clear. I had bad fashion sense, I still do. That's a Panko t-shirt, so someone went to Panko, I guess. I look very happy. You know why I was so happy? Because of next photo. This one, which you can't really see. See, some people recognize lah. Once upon a time, TVs were not flat. Now people think the earth is flat, but TVs were not flat. This one actually is the princess is Mario and Luigi. This is the end. Who recognize which game this is from? Same era lah. We actually played this game. So this is Super Mario World from the Super Famicom or Super NES, depending which one you bought. Over the side here, you can see the clarity of the Game Boy box. I had a Game Boy from when I was a kid. I played many RPGs on those and probably damaged my ear and used the magnifying thing to see things clearly. But I was really happy and I got my first camera. So I thought, hey, this is not digital, right? I mean, who knows digital? I don't know how the photo is going to turn out. So I took a photo of the screen, then I can tell people I finished the game. Because after you finish the game, this is all pre-YouTube. This is like what? Many years before YouTube. So anyways, I was very happy. I was a gamer. This is who I am when I started. I started guitar pretty late. I started when I was 16. Yeah, you're probably like, music for games, try to be comedian. Started late at age 16. So a lot of my friends actually, musicians, right? The smart thing to do if you're Asian is that your parent, right? You get your kid to start playing piano when they're 4. Then you can compete with the people who's, like been perfect pitch since they were 2 or something. So I started pretty late at 16. My first guitar was an RM 80 ringgit kapok. That is this guitar. I have a very proud Beavis and Butthead sticker here on the side. I was not very smart. I still put a sticker on it. Anyways, it was a $20 guitar, but that's how I started playing music. I had no prior musical training as a kid. Literally, all I did was play games. I remember I spent 1 whole year trying to finish Legend of Zelda. Then I realized at the end screen, right, there's a second quest. No. I couldn't read or write music at the very beginning. No one in my family played music. My dad was a writer. My mom was a journalist. We lived in a big, our house always had a lot of books. So a complete geeked out household. I'm not perfect pitch. Unlike some of my friends, right, if you have a coin and you drop it in the elevator, they'll just look at you like B flat. Slightly flat. Like not B flat, it's like slightly flat and B flat. This like, so I'm not all that. So I have no natural talent for music, none whatsoever. And since then, my photos are now in color, which is good. And I've performed and recorded with 2 Grammy winners, Flaco Jimenez and Max Baca, when I was living in the US. I was the classical guitar soloist for Final Fantasy Distant Worlds in Kuala Lumpur with Arnie Roth, so I was really excited. I've been performing with the Malaysian Philharmonic Orchestra since I've been back in Kuala Lumpur since 2011. I toured Europe twice, performing music. I presented at 3 TEDx events. Although this is actually my first time with a clicker where I'm actually having fun. It takes like a few events to get fun with the clicker. I taught at Berklee College of Music, which is where I studied, and which is where I received 2 of my 4 degrees in music. So I had a degree in music from Asian, right? Asian, you have to tell like, hey, I got a degree, man. I'm legit, I know stuff, So I had my first degree here, and then, as an Asian, right, then like, okay lah, go to Berklee. Everyone goes to Berklee, they become smarter, right? Then can put on the slide, can say, went to Berklee. I tried to level up. I plowed. I tried to level up. I did not only go to Berklee. As far as I know, I'm the only Malaysian who's taught at Berklee. As far as I know. I haven't verified this, but as far as I know. Thank you. What else? Oh yeah, I wrote 4 books. So last year I wrote my first book, and this year I wrote 3 books. So I haven't released a new album, but I've just been writing books. Also because my dad's a writer, so I make my mom proud, I make my dad proud, right? So then you're like, good son. Didn't waste our money sending him to US, right? I released more than 15 albums and EPs. So I've written a lot of music, a lot of different kinds of music, from atmospheric electric guitar music. I have an album called Emo Attack Turtle. It's like Emo Attack Turtle. So if you take EAT, it represents what all Malaysians like to do. This is the Distant Worlds concert in Kuala Lumpur. It was the first time Distant Worlds was in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and that guy, that's me. You may not recognize because pixelated. But next to me is Arnie Roth. He's holding my hand. So I feel super legit. He hold my hand. It's very cool. Next to me are classical singers. They were doing the opera, I think, from Final Fantasy VI, probably. This is a screen that's gone black. This is a screen that's come back. Even my laptop's a comedian. So, this is last year. Hey, it's on there. No, it's not on there. It's on there. Okay, it's on there. So this is with my friend Falk. He does a lot of sound design. He works with Soundtrack. One of his colleagues here, Elmer, is here. Is Falk here? No, okay. Anyways, he's here. So this is with Nobuo Uematsu and Arnie Roth after the concert. And I'm like you guys. I'm like a fanboy lah. Like even though I've been performing all this game music, right? Get to take photo. I'm like very happy. Then after that, we got to go makan, which is like when I posted this photo on Facebook, right? Everyone like, you went to makan with Nobuo Uematsu? I said, yeah. Like so happy. So this is a little bit about me. I got a lot more stories lah, but we're talking about music for games, so I cannot tell you that one time at band camp. And anyways, thank you, a few people laugh. So what is game music? Now check this out. When you see this, how many people heard the music? Show hands. Isn't that crazy? Gameplay not happening, no one's running anything, but I always wanted to do that on stage. Next time I'll do it better lah. But anyways, so you look at this, and the first thing we remember probably the music and the feeling that we had. I mean, at this point, right, no one dies yet lah. I mean, unless you like really bad, you can like a Goomba over there or something. But most of the time, most people will survive most of this first time or so. It's very fun. Anyone hear the music when they see this? I won't sing it because like I'm not a good singer, but I hear the tempo. I said I don't want to sing, I still sing. So anyways, these are iconic moments in video game. When you play the game, right, you press start, right? I mean, with Mario, you immediately start, but with Zelda, you have to put in your name, pick the, this one, all these choices, right? Like, do I save in the first slot? I guess first slot, right? First slot is a good slot because it's empty right now, right? Second slot, maybe later when I make bad choices in life, second slot, third slot. So anyways, but you look at this, right, and we hear the music in our heads. And this is the power of video game music. In fact, I think for some people here, you probably remember the first time you played it. Whether you actually had a Famicom or NES, or in Malaysia, you probably had a Micro Genius, or you probably, if you are, some people here look pretty young, so maybe some of you play on emulator or something, you know. But the point is, you probably remember how it felt. Now, I'm like an educator, so I want to share with you guys a bunch of things that if you are, okay, firstly, I guess, actually, this is a good point to ask. How many people here have some kind of background in music, like played some piano, being forced by parents, or play music, or know some music theory, check out YouTube videos of game music? Okay, so some people hands up, some people hands down. It's okay. So I'm going to make it general, and I'll explain a little bit when I get into some geeky things that may require a bit of explanation. So what's game music for? So you can see that game music is to tell a story. It's about storytelling. When you listen to the music, right, usually something happens. Mario, like, you don't know how Mario got there, but he got there, and he's suddenly walking and going through all these levels, right? And then he go into the castle in underground and all these things. So it's to tell a story about a character, a place, or an event. Something happens. If nothing happens, why are you playing the game, right? I mean, it could be Seinfeld, nothing happens. But most games, there's usually something happening, telling a story. Atmosphere. This is where a lot of music people who don't really write for games make money because they write all this library music that you buy. Hey, I have to have menu music for my game, but I don't really want to get a composer. So you'll see a lot of like menu music, title screen. All these things are functional things that happen. You always have to pause the game because someone called you and you have to answer the phone and like, why are you calling me? I'm in the middle of the game. So you have all these different atmospheric things that happen besides the actual gameplay. And then you have music as part of gameplay. Now, how many people have played No Straight Roads, the metronomic game? Like, I'm like fanboy like that. Like, go play lah. Like I've been stalking them on Facebook. I was so excited to play it. The One Has Me game. So there's some rhythm games and Guitar Hero. Those things, the music is part of the game. So if you're like some of my friends who are really horrible at Guitar Hero, if they play Guitar Hero, right, you don't hear anything because they keep hitting the wrong spot. So you never hear the song. So you have to put it at easy and maybe they'll play. You'll hear some music lah, hopefully. So that's music as gameplay. So these are basic functions of game music. Now, the larger function of game music is that to make the game even more memorable. I mean, think about it. Just now I posted up the Super Mario thing, right? The screenshot, just the screenshot, everyone like, I don't know, like I almost feel like dancing, like I hear it like Zelda, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna be awesome and get the sword and be safe on my journey. As soon as the starting, right, the music paints this atmosphere. And every time I see the picture of the screenshot, right, I'm like, yeah, I hear the music. Yeah, on a quest again. But not the second quest, just the first quest. So to create more emotional depth and connection with the game. Now, I personally experienced this, right, when I performed with the Malaysian Philharmonic Orchestra. You know how many people are upset that they cannot get the tickets for the show? So many people are upset. And then, if you go to Comic Fiesta or you go to like any video game music concert, right? As soon as they play the first note or something, or they play some scene from the game, right? Like, ah! They're like so excited. So it's like, oh my god, I get this one. And suddenly you see everyone like, everyone's seen the thing in HD at home, but they're gonna take out their phone and like take the band, and everyone's like far away from the band, right? So the band will be really small, and the cut screen will be like quite poor, but you cannot help it. Yesterday I was at the networking thing. As soon as there was music, everyone's like, I've seen this scene so many times, I'm gonna record it and put it on Instagram. It's like there's so much emotional connection with the music. Is a trigger for that. I mean, like at the Final Fantasy concerts, right? As soon as you hear Sephiroth, whoever played 7 lah. If you don't play 7, then you don't tak rasa anything. For brand recognition. Now, if you're a game developer, even if you're like someone who's just started off, just graduated college, or maybe just starting to try to check out, I'm checking out Level Up. Maybe I want to make some games. Maybe I have a small team. Music is actually super important for brand recognition. Just the fact that you hear Mario's theme when you see Mario or you see the screenshot, right? Can you just imagine if you created a game I mean, I'm always for like I'm always for like the long, big picture. Imagine someone here today listen to my talk. This may, by the way, this may be the most important talk that you attend in Level Up. Like Sean sendiri lah, I say like, yeah. Self-awareness is important. But the thing is this, imagine you create a game, even if it's an indie game, by the way, even if it's like very low budget, 2 team, developing, or like 1 person. Imagine if you created really great music for it, and maybe not next year, not very possible next year, maybe not in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but maybe in 10 years from now, that the game that you created 10 years before, the music being played by the Malaysian Philharmonic Orchestra. Or if it goes on tour all around the world and you see people like, ah, for the music in your game. Now, a lot of developers forget the fact that actually this is like open secret. Everyone knows the music is important. But usually when you talk about game development, right, music is like, yeah, I think we need some music. I realized that it doesn't really work without music. Like, maybe we should get some music. So it's often forgotten or put at the last part. But if you think about the emotional impact that music adds to your game, you should really start thinking of it from the very start. Brand recognition, Mario, Sonic, Final Fantasy. The prelude from Final Fantasy is like so iconic. Also, it prolongs the life of your game. For example, I know that I bought some games because I know the music was really good and I forgot to buy it 4 years ago or 2 years ago. Then I saw, you watch a YouTube video like, oh yeah, that one's like, the music's really, really good, really, really good. I should really check it out. And then someone may buy your game off Steam or like any kind of wherever you're selling your game, like 2, 3, 4 years after that, because the music stood the test of time. I mean, think about it. Like, I know a lot of people will complain like, oh man, the graphics are dated on this and this and this game, so you don't really feel like playing it. But if it's really good music, even if the graphics are old, some people will still get an older game because the music was really strong and carried the emotion. Now I'm going to play an example now from Nobuo Uematsu, Tuzanarkan. The music, you'll see the transcription of it, and I will narrate like music college class. I will narrate what's happening when there's some things. I wish I could do the pointer light thing, but this is LED. We're so high tech, so I have to like point like this. So here. I won't go back and forth, like I'm not that fit. What's up there? Watch this part. That's the first note outside of the key. Back to the key. This is usually when all the girls will be screaming at the concert if you play this. So this is the end of a section. Now the story will develop. It's getting higher in register. When you hear people sing high up, when people string like high notes, right, it's usually very emotionally intense. It's like about to break and cry. So this is good. Suspension. Whenever you see these things that look like hashtags, they're sharps, natural signs, it means that it's usually borrowing something from outside of the key. It means it's something special that is not supposed to be there. As it goes on, repeats. Tuzanarkan. So when you listen to this music, right, this is under a category. I mean, the labels I'm going to give to the categories are my own labels. Some people, you guys may have different labels for it. But this is what I like to call sad emotional game music. All this kind of music is supposed to make you cry. Or attempt to make you cry. Usually someone dies. No spoilers. Or someone, like someone gets taken away from you, the kid. Or you guys play games. You know how many people die in games? I mean, besides you as the player, when you play badly. But other people die as well. That motivate you to save the world or take revenge. Depending what kind of game it is. Actually, there's no motive also. You can just like, now open world, right? You just crash into people, no reason, NPCs all die all the time. But this sad emotional game music cannot like every time NPC or evil character die, you have this music. It doesn't really work. So when a character that is connected to the main character that you're playing, usually, this kind of music is very, very effective. Now, what makes it work? It connects how you feel via music to the game. And if it's doing the job correctly, right, even when you're not playing the game, when you listen to the music again, you freaking cry. Of course, if you're a dude, you're like macho, right? So you won't cry lah. You're like, no. I played the game. And how do you create this emotional effect? So I told you this is educational, right? So this is the musical secret. You use chords out of the key to enhance emotion. It's basically, I guess, if you're a painter, you have a palette, you use the colors that you don't use at a pivotal moment when you want to make people like, so you use something else. I'm saying this like matter of fact, but it's actually what people do when they create this music. So this is under the category of sad emotional game music. So I give you guys homework. You don't want homework, so I give you homework. You can go home and check out all the games, or you go on your Steam, just check out all the games that you like and try to figure out how many of those games that you super like that have some super sad emotional moment, and how many of it you remember the game music. And if you want to be a game music composer, or you at least want to make people cry in any setting, actually you don't need music to make people cry in any setting. But anyways, if you wanted to use music to make people cry, you can analyze those music. And this is something that is very useful. These kind of pieces of music, right, are iconic. People will come to concerts to watch these. Next one. This is classic. This is from the Super Mario Brothers, the one I did the screenshot. So now everyone knows how the gameplay goes, because I assume that everyone's here. If you haven't played that game, you shouldn't be in this room. Just leave. Go away. You shouldn't be here. But what you may have not seen is how it looks like in notation. So this is how it looks like. This guy is really good. He transcribed a lot of this. I'll narrate. During the NES era, you only had 4 channels. So you had this shuffle drum. So it's repetitive, creating a groove, kind of flow through the game. And the bass is doing kind of this Latinish thing. So it's like bouncy. And if you look on the top, the two melodies are harmonized. It's what's called syncopated, which means it's on upbeats. It makes you feel like you want to dance. Later, I'll show you music that you cannot dance to. This one you can dance to. I always wanted to be a beatboxer. In music, this is called repeat sign. It's just like they're lazy to write this again. You see, if you look at the notation, right, even if you don't know music notation, it actually looks like it's super busy. There's so many things happening rhythmically. And that's why it's memorable. The actual note choices are actually very so-called predictable, safe notes. If there's a chord that's C, right, and it has the note C, E, G, the melody also is C, E, G. But the rhythm makes it interesting. If you didn't do interesting rhythm, right, the song would be really boring. Don't believe me? Check out YouTube. Tons of people have analyzed this, but this is a really good example of it. Check out the next thing. So this is under the general category of happy, upbeat game music. Now, if you guys develop or play mobile games, this is what you probably end up needing for your game. Because it's probably like a happy puzzle game or some kind of adventure game or side scroller or like casual game or something, right? So you always will need some kind of happy, upbeat music. Probably if you're writing like one of those casual games, you're not going to get the super sad music at the very start. Usually sad music is for like narrative kind of games. So happy, upbeat music creates a happy world via the music. So even if you listen to that, right, even if you've never played Mario, which I will like not approve you as my friend on Facebook if you didn't, but you would feel the happiness. I mean, who would listen to the thing just now and feel sad? Anyone? No, right? I mean, if normal, I mean like normal people. I don't know about abnormal. So usually it's bright keys. That doesn't mean that your house keys are very like luminous, But it just means that in music, right, there are so-called like There are so-called bright and dark keys. Like flat keys tend to be associated with darkness and sadness. So there's a lot of jazz songs that are all flat keys, and bright keys are like D major, G major, A major. Those are bright keys. Generally, you use bright keys. That association makes it sound happier. Upbeat rhythms, like you heard, syncopation is when you do things on the upbeat. Jazzy chords, actually a lot of Mario's music. So a lot of people come to me like, no bro, I'm not into jazz. I'm like, you play Mario or not? You play Mario or not? You probably, without realizing it, you've actually listened to jazz all your life. Like, I'm talking like early swing era jazz, 1930s jazz, because a lot of the music is actually jazz harmony, whether you realize it or not. So that's happy upbeat music. Okay, now this is the one where you cannot dance. Well, you can lah, but you must be a Dream Theater fan to want to dance. This is from the Super Nintendo era, Super Famicom era. This is some of the boss themes from Super Metroid. And I play first. One, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, one, two, one, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, one, two, one, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, one, two, one, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, one, two, one, two, three. You'll see that there's a thing called time signature, and it keeps changing. It's for people who cannot dance. Actually, if you can dance also, it's very difficult. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Another example, because this is a collection of it. 15/8, our favorite time to count. Usually, right? Spawn, die. And you notice if you listen to the chords, right, it's all like really annoyingly disgusting sounding. The strings are getting higher, that's to build drama. When you go higher, it's more dramatic. So something else. This is in music, we call this chromatic or a tone roll. As a layman, you might call this annoying, repeating 6 notes forever. Why does this work musically? When you're playing a boss, they are there to annoy you. Because if they kill you, you have to repeat the level. So it's purposely on design to play the 6 annoying notes again. It's like your friend that, you know, every time you go mama, you have a friend who follows you. You never ask them, they follow you all the time. This is your friend. Well, your friend. They don't know how to go away, you know, they like follow you. You want to go mama, right? There. And you see, these are called seconds. They're notes that are very close to each other, like your friend and you. And it's annoying. If you listen to this, right? Okay, let's say you work in an office and you can play music, right? And you don't want people to be around you. Just have a playlist for boss teams. It's purposely to get rid of you. In boss level fights, right? 2 things happen. You either win, you get victory team, or you die. So hopefully, don't wish your friend to die lah. But see, 7/8. This is called odd meter. This is like the chord is like super annoying. Usually, these boss teams, you won't like wake up in the morning like I want to sing one of these boss teams because I'm feeling happy. Unless you like to kill people lah. So that's a different thing. Anyways. I'm trying to keep you guys here. So if I played 1 whole hour of boss team music while talking, then I can empty the room. I mean, unless you really like the boss team thing. But I want you guys here. Don't leave. I'll tell some jokes. So boss battle game music. This is usually in any game that's an action game. You need something that will cause conflict. You need something to irritate the player. So it makes you feel comfortable. This music is designed to make you uncomfortable. So anything that you've learned about music in today, or anytime you play something like, oh, that sounds horrible, remember it, because you can make money. Remember all those horrible things that you've heard. You're like, wow, this thing they share on Facebook, wow, it sounds horrible. Oh, really? Let me remember that. Boss music. Yeah, it's annoying music. Yeah. Oh, okay, this person's screaming out of tune. Yeah. Yeah, like my sister. Yeah. Okay. I should remember that. Sound like, hey sis, I'm annoying you. Why don't I record you for my next game? I'll get paid a lot of money for this because this is annoying music. So boss music makes you feel uncomfortable. It uses repetition. In fact, for a lot of these things, right, it uses too much repetition. So actually, the most economical way to write a boss theme is to write something and then repeat for a long time. People will get irritated. So you either finish or die. Chromatic melodies, also to annoy you. It's not singable. I mean, you think about it, it's like psychological, right? Boss, I mean, who wants to say like, I feel like fighting this boss for 15 hours because it's fun. I mean, unless you're going for like one of those gameplay, 100% completion videos on YouTube and become famous and get 1,000 views, unless it's that kind of thing. Jagged rhythms and melodies and odd meters. That's why you see a lot of 15/8, 7/8, 5/4. All these things are to annoy you. By the way, they annoy musicians as well, because it means that you actually have to count rather than play by feel. So it's not, musicians also like get annoyed by it. But that's the whole purpose. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. Now this is something different. This is something more fairly recent. Toby Fox from Undertale. Anyone play Undertale? Yay, got a friend. Okay, you guys who play Undertale can add me on Facebook. So Undertale is interesting because it's like kind of in the style of a retro game thing. Like it's old school. And there's something that Toby does here that a lot of the old Nintendo games actually do not do in the music. And we'll play it and I'll narrate again. So this is considered a bright key, A. And it's swinging somewhat. That's on purpose. This is what I call in the style of a guitar player who cannot really play. It's purposely played somewhat badly. Like your cousin who played guitar for 3 months, right? And say, I can play guitar. This is how, if they practice a lot, they sound like this. If you hear the time, right, it's like, okay, can start. That's the main melodic theme. That's called a modal interchange. It changes to minor. And you see the time like a bit like, you think it would go already, but it's later only it comes in. It's purposely done this way to make you feel like this is an amateur guitarist. My theory. Next section. See, that's like really jagged. It's not supposed, if you actually hired a good professional musician, they're not supposed to play like that. Unless you ask them to play for this kind of music. But because it's the character is a small child, it's supposed to sound innocent, fragile. You're supposed to forgive the kid, by the way. Forgive the musician for this. Because it's supposed to sound innocent. That's Undertale. So the first time I heard this while playing the game, I was like mind blown. I'm like, wow, really bad guitar playing. But I was like, this is perfect for the game. This is perfect for the game. I really feel like this lost child. And I was like, wow, you can do this deliberately to further the story. I'm going to put some disclaimers after this, by the way. So this is imperfections as art. Sometimes, right, when you write music for games, or narrative or film, right, you actually may want things that are slightly less than perfect. Sometimes it's good to play incorrectly because it makes it sound more human. There's so much music that, if you play mobile games, right, a lot of it's very programmed and a lot of it's very perfect. Everything like syncs correctly, everything. It's very, very, I guess robotic sometimes people might say. So sometimes it's good to include some deliberate mistakes. But don't misquote me. Don't come after this like, oh, Asamat told me you can play mistakes in games, man. You can play mistake in this video game music. I wrote that wrong note. Yeah, it's art. It's art. Don't like that lah. I mean, like if the story itself, if it helps tell the story, it's about the narrative, it's about the game, it's about the experience. So you have to realize that if the story requires that in the music, then add that in the music. I know I've been hired for recording sessions where the producer will say, can you play maybe with a bit more mistakes? It's professionally trained, right? Asian and professionally trained, like want to play as correct as possible. But sometimes it's desirable to include some things that make it sound flawed. Sometimes the flaws are what make the music special. This one is completely different. This one no flaw. This one's like perfect. This is work of art. If you don't agree with me, come fight with me. I love this music. This is Chrono Trigger. It's one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Got time travel, got ship, got really good music. So this is the main theme. I already feel like I'm gonna fight. I already feel I'm gonna win. I haven't even played the game. I'm gonna win. Everything's gonna be awesome. This is called the main thematic material. It's where the main melody comes in. So a lot of these kind of exciting themes, a lot of drumming happens, like orchestral drumming, because they're trying to rile you up, like going to war like that. And the accompaniment parts are very rhythmic and very driving. This is different than Mario. Mario is like you're not going to war, you're going to have fun, but you happen to be stepping on people and like throwing things and fire and all that. But it's fine. This one you're fighting. This is like against like the end of the world kind of thing. Time travel, save the universe kind of thing. No cheerleader. This is where it makes that sound orchestral. They're usually in orchestra, the harpist is doing all this hard work, or the violin, or all that. This is what I call a breakdown section. It's when you feel super inspired, but the drums out, or like high drumming, like hi-hats or something like. Yeah. This is also very good to put like pictures of animation or stuff in the end credits. This is the part where important people in the end credits appear. Or you want to put flashback at the end also, this is good. Okay. This is called development. It changes a bit, but it sounds like it's related to the first part. This is development is what you do to make sure the listener is not bored. And it shows that you are a trained musician. You can do development. That means you know how to end music. Because everyone knows the easiest way to end is like either you fade or like you just do like, oh, last chord. This one is like, yeah, we're fighting. Yeah. Professionally, we call it a polyrhythm, but actually it just sounds really cool. So that's the main theme. So this is why music is so important. When you listen to this, right, you already can feel the game, even if you've never played it. You should feel the vibe and the energy of the game. This is what I call inspiring and dramatic game music. It's very fanfare-like. It's like rallying troops to war. I'm gonna go fight. I'm gonna find my crew, my posse, my gang, whatever, depending on which era you call them different things, my team, my army, whatever, my gang, my friends. It uses usually more orchestration, brass, percussion to create drama. So it's very like more inspired by classical music and film music. It draws from that language as well. So usually when you get to this point where you want to do this kind of thing, if you have less budget, it's all programmed. If you have big budget, you get people to record them in Boston with full orchestra or string section. Chair, pluck, pluck, pluck. Yeah, by the way, I know people who do that. So inspiring and dramatic game music. Now, why is music for games very important? Actually, why is music for games very, very, very important? It's important because change color to red already, like about to die. Without music, the game is really incomplete. Generic music actually creates a generic game experience. I know a lot of people who've, if you've created like casual games or you created your own game just to learn and stuff, you probably have to use library music, or you have to buy music, or you find free music, or you just go, I think I can do this in GarageBand. I've heard the music before, I can create. Then you realize that your music is actually not very good. It's very boring. But in general, it's like generic music is generic game experience. Unique music, however, means you're going to get perfectly designed for your game. And why is that super important? Because, not budget lah, that one's a different story. But unique music creates an experience for your game. And that's why when people listen to the music, they remember your game. And that's why I'm saying I'm really encouraging anyone who's a game developer to start always thinking of music as a part of your budget. Always allocate a budget for music composition, even if it's a small budget. If, for example, you're a student in a game development program or something, to actually, from the start, realize that, I actually want to work with someone. It could be your best friend, it could be your cousin, it could be your annoying sister who does EDM music in her room quietly and never tells people that she's actually a DJ in hiding and about to build a career in Australia. Doesn't matter. But if you get someone, true, I have a friend who anyways, that's a different story. Anyways, even if you get someone who's a friend who plays some music, right, your game has a fighting chance to build its own character rather than using the same sound effects for sound design or use the same music. There's just going to be a lot more personality. And trust me, in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, there's a lot of musicians who are very, very creative. But they may not know that, you want me to write music for games? I also like games. What games do you like? But they want to write games. And there's a lot of people who are gamers who listen to all this stuff and they have some music skills. So really consider having it from the start. Now, you would never use clip art for your graphics. Why would you use library music? You know what I mean? Like what? Everything else in your game is expensive. I spent 75 hours creating this wonderful, asset into my game. And then the music, it's okay, we go to the library music one. Put that in. It's okay. But I mean, for the graphics, for the animation, you spend all this time. Let me find the perfect font for it. This is the perfect font for it. You know why? Like, what font is this? Never seen before. I created it. It never existed before. It's not like Papyrus for like Avatar. It's different. It's like your own unique font. This is why you watch Saturday Night Live, to have material for talks like this. So, check this out. This is a game by a friend of mine. This is Axiom Verge. This is a scene. You're going to listen to it twice. The first time you're going to hear it with the music. The second time without the music. I mean music and the sound design. And I want you to feel the experience. This is a newish game. It's not an old game. Check this part. Okay. Now let's watch it again without the music, without the sound. Same thing. Which one was better? Was it better with the music or without the music? With the music, okay. You're with me. Are you with me? Are you with me? You're either with me or against me. So you need the music. I mean, the thing is, right, some may argue that, like graphics are important. Of course, everything else in games, everything is important. But in this situation, right, the storytelling really happens because the music really told the story. At the beginning of that first scene, right, actually there's no music until he gets the weapon. Then you're like, yeah, now we're gonna blow things up. You have to have music there. So this is why it's important. Now, I'm gonna go to the next part before we go to the Q&A thing. So you guys now are with me, so you guys know how important music for games is. Now, how do we talk? If you are not a musician yourself, how do you talk to a musician? How do you go to someone like, bro, your music happening, bro, I do games. Be like, let's, no budget, got budget. Or how do you talk? How do you talk to a musician? So this is how we talk. Like normal people, you say hello or aloha, depending who you're talking to. So when you talk to a composer or musician, you want to use references, music that sounds close to the feel and the vibe you're looking for. So in fact, today I've given you ammunition. I've given you ammunition for it. You can say like Super Mario Brothers, but if Mario, right, was a druggie. It's happy drug music. No, not promoting, just saying as an example. Or you could say like Legend of Zelda, but if it was in outer space. So it's like medieval outer space music. That's really helpful. Just have some idea for what game music that you like and what's the kind of vibe. Describe the emotional and functional intent. Because you're not going to go to the musician like, bro, I like that kind of music that use the flat 2 major 7 chord, but you use it at the very end of the 9th bar because the 9th bar makes it a bit odd and that creates intensity and like this expectation is different. So the musician will be looking at you like, you know flat 2 major 7, why you come to me, bro? You write your own song lah. I mean, you may not know the music theory aspect of it, but you may know the emotional effect that you are intending for. So find someone who has written music that knows, they at least they understand that, oh, this one really sad. Is it sad your friend died, or your dog ran away from you, or is it sad that the whole like army come in and kill your family? Which kind of sad? Or you lost your pen sad? Different kind of music. When I was 7 years old, right, I lost my pen. It was very sad. Then I realized my friend took it, and he never, until today, he never admitted he took my pen. I saw it on his table. No one else had a pen. So specify instrument and instrumentations if you know what you want. So you say like, bro, orchestra, bro. What do you mean, guitar and drums? No, orchestra, bro. So if you know what kind of instrumentation you want, you tell them. Because if someone says like, write la music. Yeah, action game, write music. Then they suddenly come to you with full orchestra, you're like, oh. I just like wanted those like beep, 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 kind of 8-bit sounds. So if it's very different, if you come someone thinking of like kind of retro kind of sounds as opposed to orchestral sounds. So if you know, tell them. So what are some of the best practices? Work with a composer as early as possible. Don't you agree, Elmer? Wouldn't that be great? Composer agree. Any other composers here? Yeah. Yeah, see all the sound people, the composer people like, yeah, as early as possible. You know why? Because if you get to work with them as early as possible, they're on your team. They will want to make music that's even better for you. Meaning that this game looks like this, and then you gave them like idea of the concept art. Maybe nothing's animated yet, maybe the assets are not done. But at least they're like, okay, it's like this kind. So they start writing stuff like that. Now test the game with the music. Get the composer to play the game with the music. Because you could get great music, but it just doesn't work with the game. Game music works in the game. So I could be writing great music, right, but it doesn't fit the game, it doesn't fit the gameplay. You never know until you play the game. For example, No Straight Roads is really nice. Why? Because I played it in the game, like, wow, really nice, huh? I saw the demo, and then I played also very nice. So it means it's nice. Always plug your friends. So work with composers who understand and have written the kind of music you want. So you don't go to someone who only specializes in 8-bit music, orchestra, bro, live, and be like, bro, I got my laptop here, I produce award-winning music, but it's just a laptop, bro. Orchestra! No, don't do that, Find the right person to work with you. And be open to composers who may have not written for games. Now, the best example I have of this was yesterday I went for one Hazmir's talk, right? And he was saying that one of the people in his team actually did like wall murals and hasn't done like art, like concept art for games. But because of that, it created new kind of look for the game that was different from anime or other things that have been done before. So be open. This is very important, by the way. Allocate a budget for your composers. Allocate from the start. Know that, as you see here, music is very important for your game. It's actually not to take money from your project, but actually to make your game last and become a classic. If you invest in the music, your game has a fighting chance to become a franchise that will make you millions and millions of dollars and have millions and millions of fans and play orchestra concerts and all that. And then when you play at the MPO, I can play guitar for you. So, summary. This is to summarize everything. I shared with you guys what is game music, from the action stuff to the super emo crying stuff to the atmospheric dramatic music. I showed you guys the function of it. So now when you listen to music, you'll be like, other people will be playing the game. Action music. Menu music. Suddenly you're like the annoying person who like watch your friend playing Switch, like, oh, that's that music. And you're not even listening to it. You're like, oh, this is, you're like, why are you looking at my thing and labeling everything? Well, I went for this, thing at Level Up. How do we talk to composers? Talk to them like your friends, but don't ask for friend price. Best practices, all these best practices, everything I share with you guys is really for us, for all of us, to create better games together. Rather than the last 2 weeks or the last week of your development, right? You get music to come in, and you're like the poor guy cannot sleep because he's like, oh, darn it, I need to create 75 different tracks in 1 week or 5 days or 2, I don't know how long. If you bring them from the start, you're going to get better music. So it's really good for all of us to create better games and better experience. And when you create better experience, everyone is happy. So, and now This is where I get to wear my superhero costume. This is from an MPO concert. I got to dress up. I love my job. Hashtag love your job. Everyone does that. Then take a picture next to the pool. So this is, so thank you so much. Now it's Q&A time. Open for questions. Come at me, bro. Got a question?
Questions. Can we get a mic?
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello.
Hello.
For people who never touch in music, what you suggest for them to learn about music?
Okay, if you never have, okay, I give you context. I've been playing music and learning music for the past 22 years. So that means I have to pick from 22 years of things to learn. I think if you have never explored music, find what kind of music you want to create.
Okay.
You ask yourself, do I want to be a virtuoso guitarist? Do I want to do like, simple 8-bit music? Do I want to write orchestral music? Do I just want to write piano music that makes people cry? Ask yourself what you want to do and then reverse engineer what you need to find out.
Okay.
Because sometimes if you want to create some kinds of music, right, will require you to learn certain software. And some kinds, you just need to go and take a guitar lesson with someone or take piano lessons for every week for like a year or something or 2 years. So figure out where you want to end up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Thank you.
Next question.
All right, we have another gentleman. Well, you had your headphones on.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm working on this final year project that's based on a cathedral. So what would you think would be the best game for it? Best music for it?
Cathedral. Bells. I mean, take the obvious things, like have bells, have like a lot of reverb on it. Okay, what kind of game is it? Is it a scary game or a happy game or what?
It's Rhythm Bullet Hell.
Rhythm what?
Rhythm Bullet Hell.
Okay, Rhythm Bullet Hell. Okay. See, the thing about bells, right, is problematic because it's usually chimey and sustains. So maybe like some high-pitched percussion that, like gamelan, but very short sustain. So you can actually do it quite rhythmically. Or if you do anything that's kind of like swelling, then sustain longer. Because I don't know how the rhythm in the game is like. Yeah. So think of contrast. If there's going to be a lot of sound design, like there's a lot of bullet sounds, make the music spacious. Because you don't want it to overpower everything, like music busy, the action's busy. Try to start with that first. Think of contrast. Yeah. Thank you.
We collect
Welcome.
commission on ideas.
Yes, send me money when you make.
Just buy mama. Boleh.
Ah.
Dia tarik.
Ayo, depends how much money you make lah. Yeah.
All right, any more questions? Wow. As you gave us a very comprehensive, detailed on music for games. So thank you so much. How about a big hand, ladies and gentlemen, one more time for us, Saman.
Thank you. So
I was going to ask, what is the friend price? And then we can work up from there.
actually, we start from boss price, then we work to friend. I just want to say, just to end, this is all my contact detail as I put just now. I am open for collaborations, so it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you message me. Not like as long as you. No, not that one. So I'm open for collaborations. So and if you guys have any questions and stuff, please feel free to connect. If you want me to write music for you, please feel free to connect. And thank you so much to Level Up.